Happy birthday, fam! Did you really think I'd let this day pass quietly? I know the kind of power you vibe with, the kind that keeps climbing no matter what. So, here's your gift, a Yapkosota podcast wrapped in that same aura. Use it anywhere, you know the rule. Even if the stairs never end, we keep climbing!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Yapkosota, the podcast where we break down the meta, the drama, and the history of Roblox Girls and Panzer community. I'm your host, Fam, and today we have Tibo on the show. Hello, Tibo.
Hello, hello!
How are you, Tibo, today?
I'm good. I woke up like an hour ago, I guess. So, kinda morning sleepy, but still okay.
That's great to hear. Well, since you're finally on the show, just real quickly, how would you introduce yourself for the people that don't really know who you are?
Well, okay. Now that's a question I would like to ask myself as well sometimes, but um I think I definitely started with my name, obviously Tibo. Um and I would also like to say that I am the Bonple commander. Um as of right now. I've been a Bonple commander for at least a year. Um I'm also the USSD vice commander for the EU region. So I help out for EU stuff, that need help with the reach out program. Um, and I suppose I'm also the count vice commander, which I've been the count commander before, but stuff happened, so I became the vice commander.
I see. Thank you. How is it being the commander of Bonple?
It's kind of cool, I guess. Ever since I was like, ever since I joined the community, I was like, being a commander sounds really cool. And that was like 3 years ago. Um, or maybe four actually, something like that. Three to four. Um, it was kind of like a dream for me, I guess you could say. It was also very naive and selfish because I was gonna like do everything myself, which didn't sound great. But as I grew up, I realized that being a commander takes proper responsibility and a lot of hard work, I suppose, because you do need the experience to become a commander. You cannot just you know, snap your fingers and become one. So actually becoming a commander um, is very, very hard, I would say. Lately, it's been confusing, I might say, because, activities, sometimes the activity drops in your school, sometimes it rises. Um, so honestly, I don't know. To be fair, I like it. I like being the commander. It's really fun. But at other times, I just feel like there's not much I can do, or there's just stuff that I should be doing, but I just don't know how. Um, for example, recruiting. I don't really understand why sometimes it doesn't work, but I'm not gonna complain because the past week, while I've been gone moving out, um, there's been a slight increase of new people. I've gotten three new students within like 3 days. And then I also like reached out to some other people who are supposed to be new, but they stopped attending, so they started also becoming active. So I'm, again, it's like sometimes it decreases, sometimes it increases in activity. So you see, it's very hard.
Uh,
And I'm sure you know about being a commander as well. But if I have to say, a commander of Bonple is honestly very fun because there's a lot of fun people in my office core, and it's really cool.
yeah, being a commander is hard. I've only been a few weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks by now. I've been the commander before, of course, but that didn't go very well. But so far, it's hard. And I get you with the activity thing. It really depends on the
Yeah,
season. Winter, summer, that's peak activity because everyone's at home. But then, between those seasons, people have jobs, people have school. They just don't want to come. And I wouldn't say it's frustrating, because I understand. I get busy as well, especially nowadays. I've been around for a very long time, and I got shit to do now. I'm a fucking adult. It's crazy because when I joined, I was a little boy, and now I got responsibility. I gotta get money. I gotta go to work. I gotta do my studies,
Ooh.
and I'm finally starting to understand. Maybe, maybe, just maybe, that Roblox GOP isn't more important than life.
Well, luckily, I'm not old enough to understand all of that just yet.
Just you wait, bro.
Um,
Just you wait.
yeah.
Oh, you mentioned earlier as well that you were the vice commander of USST, and you were in charge of the EU sector, as well as being a part of the outreach program. Could you explain to me and also the listeners what that is?
The USSD outreach program. Um, it's a I don't know exactly how I actually should express this. It's kind of a program, right, where we, as USSD, we help out other schools, um, who are in need of actual proper management of their trainings, I suppose. We mainly just help out, right, with like trainings and train schools or like their, how would I say this? There's NA, Asia, and EU, and we have like three vice commanders that help out each sector, right? Since I'm the EU vice commander, I help out with the EU stuff. So, for example, if there's a school that's EU only, I help out with that school. But if there's like um a school that also has all three, NA, EU, and Asia, then I only help out with EU. And other vice commanders of like the NA or Asia, they help out with those NA or Asia stuff. So it's not necessarily I help out like the whole school. I do talk to like the commander of the school, and I try to arrange stuff with them, but it's not exactly as I'm the acting commander. I'm not telling the commander to do exactly what to do. We are supposed to help out, and we're supposed to give tips on how to do stuff properly, so people don't actually start failing their school, for example, right? Or so that people actually have the they understand what they're supposed to be doing in trainings, because sometimes even in trainings you might attend a training for like a school that has been dying before, and or like that school that doesn't have a lot of people, and their training isn't, it doesn't make sense, right? They attend, they rally, and all of a sudden there's like four people and they don't do anything, for example, right? So for that, we help out. um, we make proper trainings. For example, I am currently helping at Pravda. Um, I've currently made only one training with them because I've been busy, and their training kind of went just as I said. I joined with like four people. I was supposed to only watch, but then I took over, and I've made a simple training for them. And honestly, I think they enjoyed it. It was fun, at least for me. If you didn't know, I actually enjoyed doing trainings. I actually enjoy teaching. Um, but yeah, it's kind of the community outreach program is like pretty pretty simple. We just help out the schools.
And you also mentioned that you enjoy teaching. I think that's like a very important trait to have if you want to become an officer of any kind, because you're not becoming an officer for the position. You're becoming an officer so that you can teach the students, right, how to play better, how to become better in general. And
Yeah,
if you don't have that trait, I don't think you should become an officer. It's it's just that simple.
yeah, that is very true. If anyone's listening to this and is willing to become an officer in the future, make sure you listen to your teachers at school, and then you understand that okay, I need to be someone like this as well. So I've thought it like this as well when I was 2 years ago when I was an NCO in Bonple. I was like, I have to do trainings, right? And I was like, I don't want to teach. But once you understand, once you get into it, it's like, damn, this is actually kind of fun because you understand concept of what you're supposed to do. So then you are willing to do it because okay, I'm teaching other people the same thing I know. And if I know what I'm doing and I'll teach the thing that I'm doing, then more people will know what they're doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've had problems in the past, with myself as well, but right now as the commander, and also when I was the vice commander, with people that want to become an officer just to be an officer, just to be above the students. Like they want to lead despite not knowing much, and they want to be able to just control over the other students or just be one up, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And I think that's a
There's
very
also
big problem.
oh sorry.
No problem. I think it's a very big problem nowadays, where a lot of people just want to have more power instead of using that power for the better and teaching newer students how to uh, be better.
Yeah. That is very true. But there's also like this type of people that become Anzio or like any other officer, and they just don't know what they're doing. Right? It's like I don't understand why people become officers and they like don't do their job properly.
I mean, it's also a problem of the upper management, as I say, because you have an
Yeah,
incompetent commander, vice commander, and you put anyone you like as an officer, it isn't very sustainable. As if you were actually to uh, have a process of getting officers and having the officers meet a certain minimum skill level.
yeah.
Sure, let's return back to Bonple. And how would you explain Bonple to a person who had just recently joined the community and was wondering what school to join?
Mm, so I think um many people don't know about Bonple. They join GUP and they're like, oh, I see Orion on the main school. I see Kuro, Pravda, any other school, right? Um, but Bonple is not exactly canon. It's like more in manga. Well, it is a canon school. It did appear in the show or in the anime, um, but it's not as canon as you would think, right? Um, the Bonple that I'm in right now is more based off manga, the Ribbon Warrior manga, where it's kind of the same normal Pompo. It's just in the anime it shows that they have an FT, right, which is really cool. They also have a 70p JW and a 70p DW. Um, but in the manga, they also had different things, or they had these things that I don't know if they're supposed to have. For example, the Hetzer or the Archer. Those two things are manga canon to Bomple. So for people who don't know what's Bomple, or if they haven't seen the anime, that would be very tough to explain. But if they have seen only the anime, right, they probably saw like the Polish FT or the 70Ps, then they might know what is Bomple, but they might not understand why do they have these things in their loadouts in this community. So I would have to actually explain like, well, there's this manga, right? It's called Ribbon Warrior, and Bonple there is actually fucking sick.
It's
Can I
coded.
swear?
You can swear. You can
I
swear.
forgot. Okay, thank you. Um, yeah, it's very very sick. It's very coded. Think I've read the whole Ribbon Warrior. I've only read it for Bonple, obviously. um, but yeah, I think that's how I'd explain it. There's just honestly nothing else to say. If people are interested in joining unique schools that are not exactly mainstream, they would have to see. Okay, Bonpool is one of those schools because they're not well known. Um, so yeah, I don't know
Also,
what else would I say
that
about it.
it's a Polish school. I don't know if you mentioned that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Polish school,
Yeah.
of course. I forgot almost.
But what is the internal culture of Wampu like right now? I think you mentioned earlier that some the new students joined just recently, as well as reactivating some inactive students from older times. What is it like there?
Um, Honestly, the past month or so, um, it's been slow, but I think I'll talk about before this month, this past month. It's really fun because we have a exact number that actually join the trainings like a lot, like actual active students, which are mostly officers. But this one new student that joined like a few months ago, his name is Victor. He joined and he started attending every single training. And every time he didn't attend, he was like, "Sorry, boss, I couldn't make it, or I cannot make it." I was like, "I that's cool." And this kind of is like I like it. I like when people actually inform me about stuff.
That's my favorite type
I
of
will not.
students.
Yeah, I will not say much, but there hasn't been like this. It hasn't been like this with two of my officers. But I have to always like tell them like, "Yo, tell me what's going on or whatever." It happens that they just don't inform me, and I do get sad about it. But these type of students actually make sure that you as the commander understand what's happening, why they're not attending, and they do always attend. That's actually like a blessing. Um, so we get a lot, like 6 people per training, right? Usually, it's like average amount, and that's really cool. And we always have fun. We always do fun things. We have a fun training. Sometimes it gets too serious. Training actually gets like very, very trainingy.
Yeah,
um, but if we cannot talk outside of trainings, we also do some random stuff. For example, Adas, my vice commander, has been working on, well, tried to work on an ad. It was like a love life ad. It was pretty cool. He stopped, or I guess he's taking a break because it's like a lot of work. Um, but it's really fun because seeing other people also like have fun in Bonple is kind of what drives me to keep going. If a lot of people in Bonple would be like, "Nah, I don't want to play anymore. It's kind of getting boring. Let's not do have a training." I'm like, okay, then I would probably not do anything, right? But it's been fun. It's over the year and what 5 months I've been a commander. It's really fun. I
that,
like it. I enjoy it there.
that's great to hear. And I really do feel when you said that when the students, right, they don't feel good or they're just not as enthusiastic. You, as the commander, you feel it like 10 times as hard because you can't really do anything about it if the students just aren't motivated. You can try as much as you can, but if they just don't want to, you can't really force them. Because, like I said earlier, life's more important than Roblox GUP. But on the flip side, when the students are motivated and they actually want to do stuff, you really get that rush, you know, that you want to do stuff for them and you don't want to disappoint them.
Yeah. It's
Uh,
it's kind of our motto in Bumple, life over Lego.
I think that's a very good motto to live by.
Exactly.
Well, as for Bonple, what school would you consider as Bomple's rival as of now? Because a lot of the schools in the community, they have rivals with each other, quote unquote rivals, and I'd like to know what Bonple considers as their rival.
That is an interesting question. Um I would say Anzio, because Anzio feels like a school that really, if you look at the loadout for Anzio and Bonpo, you notice that some things really counter each other, but some things kind of don't. If we take a look, for example, if you imagine the Anzio loadout, they have P40s, they have the P43, M15s, M16s, the Panzer IVs, Semos, CVs, etc. Right? Those things are kind of really good, right? The P40s kind of act like Shermans; they're like your main tanks. Which in Bompu we also have. Shermans, two of them. Well, they have three, we have two. Right, they have three P40s, we have two Shermans. They also have a P43, which is kind of like a Panther, but fast. And in Bonple, wouldn't you know, we have a Panther. And while we don't have actually like four casemates, right? We do have things that kind of counter the casemates, which are the 25 TPs. They don't exactly out reload or outmaneuver the casemates, the long semos or the short semos. But for example, the 25s one tap the short semos. That's enough. Or the 25s can two tap the long semos. If we take out all three against one long semo, obviously the long semo is gonna die, right? And other than that, there's also similar things I would say. For example, the M15s they have are like kind of like a 10 TP, but somewhat better because their lightings gonna two tap our lightings, while we only have two lightings that two tap theirs. But before our loadout change, where we didn't have a 76, we had three 10 TPs, right? Anzio has three M15s, and the M16s they have the Celere, that's kind of like a 14 TP because it's slightly better. It's a better version of the M15, but it's still similar. Well, not actually appearance wise, but stat wise, it's very similar. Which the 14 TP is the same thing, right? The only problem is that the 14 TP doesn't have the lighting FOV, while the M16s have. So you can see that there's kind of like a contrast. Like Anzio has these things, Bonple has these things. They counter each other kind of. The long semos kind of counter like almost every um tank we have almost. Um like I also want to say like they have CVs while we also have TKSs. They have two TKSs and a CC. Wait, what am I saying? They have two CVs,
CVs. There we go.
one CC, and an L6. Right, we have two TKSs and a 4 TP, which I'll say the 4 TP is way better than a fucking L6. I'll keep saying that. I don't care. People can argue with me, but I like it. It's obviously not the best lighting in GOP, but it's really good. Better than the L6. Anyways, so I would probably say Anzia is probably the rival school to Pomple if I had to actually choose.
Well, speaking
Mostly
of,
because of the
oh,
loadout.
yeah, but speaking of loadouts, uh, if you wanted to change one tank in your loadout, what would you change if you would change anything at all?
Nothing. Um, Many people don't know, but Bumble doesn't need many loadout changes. The only real reason I made a loadout change to like very recent to change a 10 TP or get a 76 for a 10 TP is because I've noticed that we don't have many Light Force players. So I needed to somehow exchange like we always lose our main tanks very fast. So and the light tanks are always last, and playing with only light tanks like every single match was kind of annoying because at the same time, yeah, I could have played the light tanks as well, but I am a commander. I shouldn't really be playing just the light tanks, even though okay, I'm gonna give you a little bit of lore. Ready?
Yep.
Um, Before or as soon as I became a commander, I was thinking of my own Sunshado, right? Um, and I was like practicing in my head like what as a commander I could do while I play in matches. And the number one thing that was always appearing in my head was like I should probably play as light tanks, play as the light force, and act as a commander from there. Because on one hand, I'm also gonna reveal my tricks here. But on one hand, you know what's going on if you're in a light tank at all times, so you understand what you need to do as a commander. Make
Mm,
orders, make commands, tell your team what to do. Because in a 10TP, for example, you can see everything, you're fast, and you can harass the enemy by yourself. You don't have to actually have a proper team because as a commander, you understand what's happening. So you kind of understand what's going on. Um, so that's kind of how I thought I would play. right? I would be like, okay, I'm gonna be a commander and I'm gonna be playing in light tanks. Um, but that kind of changed, and I have become more versatile, and I've also started doing things that also Milk has done. By the way, Milk is the ex commander of Bonple for 5 years. But I started doing things he was doing. I started playing the Hetzer first, and then like the 7 TPs or something else, which is kind of crazy. Because I didn't think I would be playing the Hetzer more. I was saying I would not be playing the Hetzer at all. But it's gotten so amazing. Like everything in the loadout is just so good that you don't need to change anything. We got rid of the archer because for me personally, I didn't like the archer. It was useless, and it was supposed to be useless, but I just didn't like it, so I changed it to the FT, which is more canon. Um, but changing the 76 for 10 TP was again for mainly the reason we used to have only light tanks. Adas and Yakubo, my two ice commanders, only played light tanks, and most of the time they were doing good. They haven't died a lot, and they were doing good. Sometimes Yakubo didn't even attend, so Adas had to play alone. Um, so it kind of turned to me thinking like, okay, I have to change the loadout somehow, so we still have a proper main force, while we still have the light tanks, but we don't need the light tanks as much as we do need the main tanks, main force tanks, because the light force doesn't die a lot anymore somehow. Ada's been popping off lately, so I'm not gonna complain actually. But yeah, it's kind of gotten to this point where I just don't think Bonple needs a proper loadout change. Nothing is gonna get changed for a year, I believe. Only thing we will change is are probably like the decals and add some symbols or whatever to our tanks. And I've been thinking, like, if anything, I would love to give like a camouflage for light tanks, maybe.
You want
But yeah, that
textures on
might
your tanks, yeah?
textures, camouflage, the same thing.
Yeah,
But you
yeah.
get the idea. So yeah, I think that's gonna be our plan. But nothing with tanks. We're not gonna change tanks. It's
I
it's
see.
honestly the best loadout there is, in my honest opinion. It's very balanced.
It's very versatile, that's for sure. Very
Yeah.
flexible, no doubt. But what would you say is the biggest misconception the rest of the community have about Bumble?
About Bonple's, are there any misconceptions?
I don't know. I
Um,
don't know if
I've
they are misconceptions because you'd have to be the one debunking them.
true, but I is are there? I've never heard about any misconceptions. Um, Let me think. Maybe I'll think of something. Hmm. Maybe the 14 TP is not the best lighting in GUP. Maybe that's a misconception. I'll go back to the Anzio thing. It's if for example, a good misconception, possibly, I don't know, but it could be like a like if the is the 14 TP actually good now? Because it had a nerf some time ago. It's been actually a long time ago, but it's gotten nerfed to the point, it might not be the best lighting in GOP. So I'll go back to the M16s. The M16 again is like a 14 TP, but Italian and somewhat better. If we think about it logically and statistically, the 14 TP is better than the M16. It doesn't need the FOV, you know, because the M16, it kind of does the better job as a 14 TP, but the 14 TP outtrades the fucking M16. It has a quicker reload, I believe. Like the M16 is like 4 seconds, I think.
Yeah, someone will fact check you under the comment section
Yeah.
if anything
Wait,
happens.
wait, wait. No, no. I don't need fact check. I am the bumper commander. I understand. I know the stats. Just
Trust. I don't know the stats of Yatku tanks properly. I'm real with you. That's my secret.
don't
I
you
don't know.
don't you have an information channel, buddy?
We do, but I don't look at it. Yoko made all that.
We do, but I don't like it. Okay, bro.
Let's move on to the last question. Some people in the community
Bro.
I consider you to be like one of the best players in the community. Well, what's your secret? You know.
Mm. Oh, one of the best. Ooh, I like to hear that actually. What's my secret? Okay, so you wanna know my secret, right? I'll tell you right now. So first, you have to beat Shrek in a 1v1. But before that, actually, you have to play him 100 times so you understand how he plays. And I'm not even joking. This is actually what I did. I
Okay.
played against Shrek.
I think I've
Like it's
heard the
actually a
story
real
similar to
thing, though.
this. Where Yoko, right? He told me he 1v1 you like 100 times, and he hasn't won against you a single time yet. Is this true?
Sh- Yoko is he's not okay. He is a good player, but he's not like the chosen one. You know.
Yoko, if you
No,
hear
but
this, close your
funny
ears, bro.
thing,
Close your eyes. Close your ears.
funny thing is that we actually did 1v1. I mean, me and Yoko did a 1v1 yesterday, which is actually hilarious. It was my first time 1v1ing after a long time, so I was kind of washed. But no, my secret again, it's just as I said. You just have to 1v1 track. But in all seriousness, if people want to get better in the game, at the game, sorry, you do have to understand that you do need to experience. You need some experience, and you need to understand how the maps work. It's more complicated than that, but as long as you understand your tank and the map and the player or the opponent, those three things will help you to get better. Um, but that's mostly me saying it in 1v1s because the way I actually got better is through 1v1s. I just 1v1 until I couldn't 1v1 no more, and until I got really, really good. Um, but if that's not helping, there's another secret that I figured out as well, and I've been kind of telling it to my students as well, is that if you want to get better, play with tanks that you are not particularly good at. Because in most cases, you have to understand how to play all tanks if you want to get good at the game. It's not just playing one tank until you get good. If you understand the whole loadout of your school, then it's good. You'll know all tricks to the loadout. For Bonple, the only trick I was missing is the light force. And until I was pretty good before that, I was good when I wasn't the vice commander. I was pretty decent actually. Um, if I remember during one of the, I don't know if it was a summer tournament, when I become like the USSD student, when Shane was the commander back then, during a tournament, I was just playing good and it wasn't really good. I looked back at it a lot actually, and I wasn't doing anything special. I just played the game, I held my ground, and I got like 4 kills 1 round. And Shane was like, "Yep, that's it. You're good. Get in USSD." But before that, or after that, I started playing with light tanks, the 10 TP, 14 TP. I wasn't really good. Right, Shrek and Sens were laughing at me like, "Haha, you loser, bozo. You don't know how to play." But I I learned the tricks and tips of the Light Force, and all of a sudden I was good. I was starting to understand. Even Shrek helped me through 1v1s. So it was a really, really good learning curve. You just have to understand how to play with the tanks you don't know how to play with. It's not that simple though. Obviously, it will take time and a lot of playing, but eventually, if you understand, if you start doing what you're not, you gotta get out of your comfort zone. Basically, there we go.
Well, you heard it here first, guys. You guys have to have the kind of power that keeps on climbing no matter what.
Oh my god! Wait, do you,
You,
do you want me to say the full thing?
yeah, sure, go ahead.
Okay. Happy birthday, fam! Did you really think I'd let this day pass quietly? I know the kind of lover you vibe with, the kind that keeps climbing no matter what. So, here's your gift, a Yapkosota podcaps wrapped in that same aura. Use it anywhere, you know the rule. Even if the stairs never end, we keep climbing!
Thank you,
There you go.
Tibo. My birthday's actually in 4 days as the time of recording,
Oh
so
fuck!
thank you so much.
Well, happy early birthday, bro.
Thank you, thank you. Oh, thank you for being on the show. That was my last question. Uh, Actually, I do have one more question. Do you have any questions for me?
Uy. Well, I realize I have never asked. How are you in this fine morning?
Oh, thank you. I'm doing okay. Yesterday was really tough for me because I had to go out from like 6 a.m. until 8 p.m. Uh,
Yikes! What are you doing? If I can
I
ask.
I would not rather disclose this information,
Uh,
but let's
but
just say I was busy. I was busy. I was busy.
it was doing some shady business. I see. I see.
Let's not talk about it. The people don't have
Okay.
to know. Jatkosota commander, he does shady shit. But if that's it, then I'd say that this would be the end of the episode for Yapkosota. A massive thank you for Tibo for coming.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. And if you, the viewer, want to get involved in the community or check out the schools that we talked about today, check the links in the description. And make sure that you subscribe so that you don't miss the next podcast. See you there. Bye bye.